It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Veronica Dan Ikboy, and as usual, with me are my co-hosts. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Veronica.
Bonjour. Comment ça va?
Ça va bien,
Hi, YK.
Hi.
You're looking colorful and beautiful as ever.
Thank you. And well, it's nice to see you on set. Even though we miss Murayo, it's nice to see you.
Thank you. How has our weekend been? How has our week been?
I started driving my car on Wednesday last week.
Oh.
And people just want to jam me.
They should mind
themselves.
I'm not understanding.
They will just enter. I see. One woman today, she says, just cool down.
Cool down, no.
Just cool down. Let them go. I said, yeah. They want to jam me. Which kind of wala is this now?
They like the color of the cup.
They know that they can chance you easily because you are extra careful, so you will not pass yourself.
I don't even want any stain on the car. Let me use this opportunity to thank everyone again for my birthday.
Right.
Very grateful.
All right, BC, you were not here yesterday. So
no, I wasn't.
Come to you.
Okay, I'm doing great. I've been busy. I'm trying to sort out my goods. So I had a lot of products coming.
Importer, exporter.
Pure water. You must add that pure water. I had a lot of products coming and I was sorting them out. And I just realized that this dollar rise, this inflation rate is not smiling at all. Because I'll sell out something and then I go back to repurchase and everything has increased. And the customer is like, but that's not the price you gave me 2 months ago when I requested for this. I said, Madam, there's nothing I can do. I can't sell below
just all the price
cost price. Yeah, so it's been, I just feel bad that the money we think we have, we're not even able to get anything meaningful. Even the food we eat at home, you know, every day they're giving me lists when I'm going out. Mommy, egg has finished. Mommy, this one. I'm like, you people should drink Gario. I don't want to shout. Everything is just so, I don't know.
So you can imagine my own house.
I don't even want to know.
It's unimaginable.
So I was going to talk about, yesterday I thought you were going to be on set. So I found out, I'm probably the last person to find out that BC has a podcast. Like it was, I was just, my husband and I we listened to like 3 interviews back to back. Very interesting. As in the audio, I was just like, hey.
You like my voice, right?
You
like my voice, right?
I was feeling it, you know. But I'm really good work.
Thank
I'm wondering, when you say you're busy now, I understand that there's another level.
She's into I'm wondering how she's managing herself.
She's managed, you know, that she would not choose the day she wants to Netflix and chill. Somebody will not be laughing. Please, you can don't Netflix and chill. You don't know the time she's working. So just don't copy don't hear that one and think that's the thing. But I'm don't copy her chilling time. Because when she comes there, she'll tell about what the day she didn't do anything.
I watched Netflix.
And you might think, oh, me too, I deserve to rest. Hello? You don't rest yet.
No, but rest is important. Rest is important.
When price of rice crashes, then you can start
resting.
Now we need to work. I'm grateful to God, though. You know, like I'm really, it's not just because like, hey, now maybe this, hey, thanks so much.
God has been faithful.
God has been so faithful, undeniably faithful, and I need to always just say, thank God.
Abi, very
How
important.
Are you doing?
I am good because the same thing she spoke about is something I talked about to myself earlier this morning. Saying that the miracle of seeing each day is something to be thankful for. Because last week I had a tough time when it comes to, I had some ulcer pains and it was really getting on my nerves. And I remember those ladies, or the lady that died as a result of ulcer.
And you're alive.
And I am alive, and I say it's a miracle to be alive every day. So I am grateful to God for that. So we'll take a break now. And when we return, it will be time to look at the papers. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Let's head straight to the papers now. And I will begin with The Nation. The major headline being, tough times await illegal arms bearers, Buhari vows. APC youth seek 10,000 appointment slots post-2023. Banks renegotiate loans for top borrowers. Niger governor inaugurates security forces. And there's this story here. Man rapes his grandmother in Ondo. Then we have 774,000 jobs. Hiccup store stipend payment. Police Igboho group clash in Lagos likely, while CP unaware of any rally. Emirates Airlines suspends flight 2 from Nigeria. Many injured in Kwara. APC leaders, supporters clash. Papa, you have the major headline.
The president, represented by the SGF, Boss Mustafa, was addressing the APC youth conference in Abuja, mentioned the fact that he said, I would like to reassure, that's the word reassure, you that the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, no effort to be spared to tackle them. These are people that he said he's speaking against those that have arms within the country, illegal arms bearers, that if you're found in any way, you'll be dealt with. He also mentions the fact that the youth canvassed that they wanted 10,000 appointments for young people.
Really?
And I'm wondering, okay, you have a right to demand. The government has a right to decide how they want to implement it. The statement was given by the caretaker committee, Ishmael Ahmed, at the event, who said this is what the youth want. They want more involvement of young people. But the president's statement was more focused on the challenges of insecurity and how the government is going tough on anyone bearing arms illegally within the country.
All right. Busy, you have... okay. You wanted to add to it?
No.
Your own story. Okay, let me quickly take the 774,000 jobs. So Daily Trust last week reported about the 774,000 jobs workers. So it's actually called the Extended Special Public Works Program. And they carried out an extensive research and found out that most of them haven't been paid yet. Some of them said they were shortchanged. Instead of 20,000 naira, some of them were paid 17,000. Others have not even received their monies at all. And others are saying they paid them just for 1 month and didn't conclude. So officials of the federal ministry met with the participating banks yesterday, and the federal government had given a directive to banks to ensure that they pay all the participants. So the banks include Fidelity, UBA, Heritage, Zenith, Access, FCMB, and UB Microfinance Bank. Now, some of the participants also complained that they did not get working tools, and we heard that about 4 billion was earmarked to get working tools for them. So Festus Keyamo was asked, and he said, well, that he would tell them how much they have given so far. That what the record he has is about 26 billion that has been released, but he's not in charge of procurement, so he doesn't know that the reporters should go to the NDA and ask questions about procurement. But that likely he will tell them exactly everything today when they have a meeting. All right. So let's wait.
The Niger State government have raised a special security squad for the abduction of the students of the Islamic school. He has promised to give all of them the necessary support, pay them when they need to be paid. He says they tried to negotiate with these bandits. They didn't agree. He said they started with kidnapping, destroying the farms or attacking farmers.
Yeah.
Then they moved to burning the farmlands. Now they've moved to kidnapping. That's this time they're just going all out to face the bandits. So that this special squad are going to go into the hideouts.
We only hope that they'll be able to achieve a lot.
Yeah. In addition, the headmaster of the school, the Islamia school, said that 15 teachers had already escaped the bandits from Zamfara, but they're in a military facility in Kaduna. They will be handed over to Niger State very soon.
Let me read the story of Emirates. Yesterday, I couldn't take the story. I was celebrating in my mind that the ban on Nigeria had been lifted by the UAE. So, but prior to that, the Emirates already said that from June 23rd, flights will be allowed from Lagos to Dubai, to UAE. But now, barely 48 hours after that press release, they've come back to say, no, they are really sorry, they are committed to serving Nigerians, but there won't be any flight that has been planned. Anybody that has booked a flight inbound Nigeria through Emirates should just redirect their flights because they are no longer coming to Nigeria. And Nigeria, as well as South Africa, being grouped together, they didn't explain the reason for this. I would like for our government to ask the reason
why the
for,
groupings.
because they've done this since March this year. There's been a ban on Nigeria flights to Dubai. I know we have lots of relationship agreements with them. There should be justification.
We should use that opportunity to understand what it is
so the
and how we can work
condition is
things
that you're still going to have to do your test, even if you're going, but you can now go to Dubai. You just have to do the regular
test.
And if you've done your vaccination, if your vaccine is approved in UAE, you are allowed. If it is not approved, you still have to do all the tests to prove you're negative before coming in.
Interesting. To the Daily Sun now, major headline saying Buhari Afenifere Ohaneze clash over appointments. My actions, policies, fair, inclusive, says President. It's not true. Groups, MBF, that's the Middle Belt Forum, also speaking there. Another headline saying nobody can push Igbo out of Nigeria. Ohaneze Abari bin Mohalu. We go down to other stories now. Senate opposes plan to gag media, says attempt impossible. Pandemonium as Revolution Now protesters block Abuja Airport Road. Jam candidates in delisted CBT centers to get new exam date. Alleged sexual assault, Baba Ijesha to be arraigned due June 24th. Pope to work with Nigeria to end insecurity. Applauds President's effort in fight against insurgency. So the major headline, groups are coming out to, accuse the president. There has been accusations about his appointments that he's nepotic in terms of nepotism, the fact that he's favoring a particular segment of the country instead of ensuring that it is widespread employment or appointment, as the case may be. And he is saying, no, his actions, policies are fair, inclusive, and that is his
subject to
point of
definition.
view.
Yeah, I agree.
So that is what he is saying. And then the reaction again is that it is not true. That's the Middle Belt Forum also saying it is not true what you are saying, because when you look at the appointments, especially when you look at the Chief of Army Staff, that they are from this segment of the society. So that is what is the issue here with the major headline.
But we have good news. The Pope Francis himself is going to be praying for Nigeria.
Okay.
So the new ambassador to the Holy See, Vatican City, Paul Oga Adiku, went to meet the Pope in the Vatican and mentioned the fact, extending his greetings, he's resuming duty, he's committing to ensure we have a good relationship between Nigeria and the Holy See, Vatican City. Then the Pope replied saying that he's happy to receive, but that he personally realizes that the problem Nigeria is facing, that if anything happens to Nigeria, it's not just about Nigeria, it's about the entire, the globe. So his focus is that he will personally, that was his word, he said, the Nigerian problems are not just about Nigeria, but a global one, saying he will personally be involved in praying for Nigeria to overcome our situation. So we should expect more.
Of course it is. Prayers are important.
I like Waike's expression.
We'll come to that. We'll take a break now. When we return, the conversation continues. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, thank you for staying with us. We're still looking at the newspaper headlines, and we're staying with the Daily Sun. One of the stories here that I believe would interest a lot of persons is this story that says Senate opposes plans to gag media. The Senate has come out to say that there are no plans to gag the media. That is just what the NBC is doing, is just an attempt to put regulations in place that will guide the runnings and what we say, okay, our rights to free speech as enshrined in the Constitution, to ensure that, but also to ensure that there are regulations to ensuring our rights to free speech.
Nobody can gag the media.
Nobody can gag the media.
The right to freedom of speech is a right for all.
Absolutely.
Yes, I have a story there.
Yeah.
Senate's minority leader Naya Baribe, alongside with the President General of Ohaneze Ndigbo, Professor George Obiozo, and the presidential candidate of the Young Progressive Party, YPP, Professor Kingsley Moghalu, have said that nobody can push Igbo people out of Nigeria, and it's their right to demand for fairness, equity, and justice in the country. And they went ahead to mention that the Igbo people are actually domestic investors that have served as a glue to the country. They are the ones that are mostly travel. They are the ones that stay in their countries to do business in different areas. They are the ones that want peace and unity because they know that they don't have any other land. And so it's unfair that it seems like the presidency is favoring one side of the divide and not the others. And it's not just the Igbo people that are now complaining that the Southwest and the other parts of the North are beginning to see that this is happening. And so it's time for the president to give a go-ahead for restructuring, and that's the only way people will feel like there's justice, there's equity.
But the president has said, what do you want restructured? He asked the question yesterday. But quickly, let's take a
update. Yeah. Remember that the Nollywood actor Larry Omiyinka, popularly known as Abajesha, has been remanded since April 22nd over the case of defilement, alleged defilement, and indecent treatment of a child. He's been denied bail consistently. The justice in charge said that the defendant must be accorded full medical attention by the authorities within custody, but that he will not be granted bail. So he's expected to get back into the case is expected to continue by Thursday this week, and we're expecting to see justice meted out.
Let's quickly move to the Punch newspaper now. Bandits, herdsmen, farm occupation, insecurity ground CBN borrowers. Farmers say loan repayment difficult. And then we look at the story. Bello meets abducted students' parents, unveil anti-banditry battle plan. Yoruba scholars Bola caution Igboho demand decentralized government. Media bill, Buhari reintroducing Decree 4 under different guise, says stakeholders. Federal government calls Emirates bluff. Airline bans Nigerian travelers again. Customs prepare to seize private jets over documents verification. Court orders federal government to pay Bielsa $951 million over derivation fund. What other stories here now? Ex-DIG seeks to stop Ojikalu's alleged 7.1 billion naira fraud retrials. Buhari Fayemi commend Abuad Independent Power Plant. Hashtag NSAS protesters still in prison with newborn. Bail application unheard. YK.
I wanted to take the rape story. There was one, there are two actually. Story. One in Ondo State who raped an 80-year-old woman. He went into her compound pretending to pick herbs, and then when she wasn't looking, entered her room and raped her. She was screaming when people entered and they saw him naked and they caught him. He was an ex-convict, and he said, no, that he doesn't even know what entered his head, that he's just come out of prison and see him again. He doesn't know that it's something that will just be saying, still, rape. That's
responsibility.
Meanwhile, he's been disturbing the neighborhood, according to the reports too.
And he had been stealing phones and other things. Then there's another one, another Adibowale, on the image of this picture. He entered and raped a 60-year-old woman.
There is more to this raping of old women.
I'm telling
there is
you,
more.
Old women.
There is more to raping
There's
of old women.
more to it.
Yes, because we know the way young people are being, they are being tricked into believing that when they rape old women,
and use them for rituals.
Yes, it's a way to do some ritual that will bring them money. And they need to just not deal with the boys. They should deal with the person that is telling them to go and rape all these old women.
All right, you're done?
Yeah, that one was in Ogun State.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll take the major headline.
All right.
Farmer matter. So, bandits and herdsmen, farmer crisis. You know, we know about the successes of this government includes the Anchor Borrower program, the ABP. That's part of the highlights of this government. Every time you ask them what they've done, they'll be like the Anchor Borrower program. But now they say the Anchor Borrowers program is about to hit the rocks because there are issues with the farmers who took the loan from Zamfara to Kebbi to Sokoto to Ekiti to Ebonyi State. A lot of farmers are coming out to say, we are unable to farm. We took the loan, but the ABP, the Anchor Borrower program insurance, does not cover, let me get that right, that it doesn't cover He only covers theft. He covers the crop. He covers fire. He covers flood. He doesn't cover destruction by cattle.
Wow.
So when their farm is destroyed by cattle, there's nothing they can do. A particular man all the way from Malam Umar said he took 600,000 naira for agriculture for his farm and is unable to pay back because he was kidnapped for 1 month. His product was destroyed, and now he's back. He doesn't have anything to harvest. He doesn't have money to pay back the 600,000 naira loan, and it cuts across many states where the farmers are saying we can't pay back this loan because we don't have the funds.
I hope the government would, relax a bit on them, give them time before you're.
We do hope.
I hope.
Really? Want to quickly move?
Yeah, I want to take the NSAS lady.
Yes, please.
Still in prison.
She's still
with
in prison,
a baby,
and she's now had the baby. Apparently there's a procedure to releasing her, and the judge said the bail application was not in front of her on Monday, that she would take it on Tuesday. The counsel to her, to the girl, says that yes, he agrees that there's a procedure, and he's hoping that they will not do the naming ceremony in prison. I think the baby was born on Wednesday, so Wednesday is the
supposed to be the naming ceremony.
Anyway,
but I don't understand why, if she's been in prison since October, and they've allowed her to stay there, isn't it?
Now.
Shouldn't she have been given bail?
Charged to court.
Isn't it a bailable offence?
It
was for vandalizing property.
On strike
for a long time. And so there are cases piled up. So maybe before her case, there are other cases they have to deal with.
And I heard that in her own case that she didn't vandalize, that she just went to shop and she was caught among those that were vandalizing. And that she was trying to prove her case.
It's a sad one. To quickly move on now, we have the Daily Trust and 774,000 jobs federal government directs banks to pay participants. And we have the picture story here. The Borno State Governor, Babagana Zulum, commissioned some schools, about 16 of them. And one wonders, in a state where you are seeing cases of insurgency, schools being closed, we are having this kind of project, which he has done. 60 air-conditioned classrooms for at least 2,400 students, 4 workshops for metal works and the likes. Now, this is just to encourage students that to get back into school.
Please let the military also, the Joint Task Force, support this effort and ensure that there's safety so that people will conveniently get back into school.
Okay, to the Vanguard story now, of Vanguard newspaper. Major headline here saying, nothing to restructure, angry Sans, elders battle Buhari. Then we have this picture story, cattle invasion, the entrance to Ughelli North Local Government Secretariat in Delta State, the state where they have said that there is a ban on open grazing, but we see the picture here where cattle have occupied the road. Anyway, moving forward, NDC amendment bill, no plans to gag media, Senate. Opposition spilling rhetoric to rubbish security architecture, marking day. Customs threatens to impound unverified private jets, July the 6th. Tengina school students abduction, bandits, terrorists in Niger, not Nigerians. Buhari vows to punish terrorists, cessationists. Buhari's appointment, Northern elders disagree with PDP, Afenifere, Ohaneze, Pandef, Khan, MBF. Who has what story here?
I have the major story. So the elder statesman, we know him as Chief Edwin Clark, has said that the president cannot dictate to us that Nigeria is rife for restructuring. He also says that the failure to restructure would bring disaster to the country. Senior lawyers also, had the same conversation they had with him, and they were saying that he was quite embarrassed that even after the president had an interview when he came to Lagos, that he sounded like he was mentally alert, only for him to go back to say he doesn't support restructuring and there's nothing like restructuring.
That's a weighty statement.
Yes.
Very, very.
So that he was disappointed that the president will go back on what they felt he was going to admit or agree to in the first place, seeing everything that has been happening in the country. And he's saying that let's even take a look at other countries that finally succeeded. We had Soviet Union, Sudan, Yugoslavia. They are not better for it today. They are splitted, they are disorganized, and this is not what we are hoping for Nigeria. So the president shouldn't, make like a commanding statement as if Nigeria is his private business. He has been elected to serve the people and he should listen to their cries.
A majority of them are
basically.
also saying that because the party had said that they were going to do this
Yes.
restructure. Yes.
Like it was a
and
campaign promise.
there was also a panel set up that the governor of Kaduna State headed,
That
and then
agreed.
there was a document that came out of it. So now that the president is
going
saying
back
this,
to
so
say no.
it's kind of...
He's going back on his word.
Yeah.
But I think what we need to do is hold our leaders accountable. When you next go for election, maybe you are the people that promised.
It feels too far. Like this is 3 years time. I want to take the story
It's 2 years.
We
It's-
need
it's-
to
it's-
run
it's-
because of
and
time.
Custom is telling everybody that owns private jets, come and pay your money and register. Since they made the announcement, 2 weeks now, only 6 private jets have showed up.
Right
The
now.
remaining people, they say they are waiting for you. Oh.
Anyway,
July
July
6th,
sixth.
July 6th, then they will show them.
They will impound your, I don't know how they will impound you. How they do it.
I know they just lock it up at the airport.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break now, and when we return, we'll have our guest here with us. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Joining us on the show is Olusoji Oyawoye. He is the co-founder and the CEO of Resource Intermediaries Limited. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning,
And
Veronica.
congratulations, 15 years anniversary.
Oh, yes,
That's
July
a
1.
long time.
It is in this environment, especially.
Work anniversary or marriage anniversary? No, I need to be sure.
At work,
Work
business
anniversary.
anniversary.
Marriage is to about 29 years.
Woo!
February next year.
Congratulations.
You see somebody with this kind of gray hair, you ask him if it's only 15 years he's been married.
All right, let's talk outsourcing now. A lot of persons do not really understand what outsourcing is really about. They confuse it with casualization and all of it. But then help us better understand what it is exactly.
Interestingly, first, outsourcing comes from 2 words, outside and then sourcing. Outside and sourcing, so outsourcing. It principally just means transferring work and decision rights to an organization outside your business. And businesses do that principally for 3 reasons. 1, to save costs, because it moves your cost from variable to fixed. So if you've outsourced a function, and this is contract sum, there's no variation for that 2-3 years. But when you manage in-house, there are all kinds of liabilities and issues that can occur for that function. So your costs become variable. Become variable. So outsourcing makes it fixed.
Oh, okay.
Second basic thing is it enables organizations focus on what is core to them and let somebody who is better at what is not core to them handle it as it is. So that also enhances efficiency because then you are focused on what you are good at as it is. And thirdly, it helps businesses enhance their competitive advantage in the market. Because they save costs, they're more efficient, they're able to do things better than competition. But I need to quickly make a clarification because usually when people talk outsourcing, especially in Nigeria, it's always assumed they're talking about human resource, human being outsourcing. And when you said casualization, that flows from there.
Right.
But people outsourcing is less than 5% of outsourcing.
Okay.
Outsourcing again means transferring decision rights and functions to someone outside the organization.
Okay.
Not just about employment.
So it's not about human beings. So for example, a lot of banks, I'm sure if you call most international banks, the person picking the call is in India or in South Africa. So they've outsourced their call center, not the human being. They've outsourced the function.
But that seems to differ from the model we run here. Kind of.
That's why I'm hoping today to be able to put some
So
clarification.
help us, talk to us about that, our own kind of model.
The unfortunate fact in Nigeria first is outsourcing as a business model is not regulated. So everybody just wakes up, either they're out of job or they come out of school, they say they are in outsourcing. But it's a professional practice. It's like medicine. It's like engineering. You can't just finish medicine, you still have to go for, is it medical school or whatever?
Yeah.
Housemanship.
Same with law. Even after you read law, you have to go to law school.
Yes.
Is that way outside Nigeria? But here, everybody just carries a briefcase and say they're an outsourcing. I'm a certified outsource professional of the International Association of Outsourcing Professionals, because there's no such certification locally. So when I left banking after 19 years in 2006 to start this, right, we went in that direction.
Okay,
Right,
sir.
okay.
I'm happy that you had a background in banking, because these people, quote and unquote, the banks, are the ones who've taken advantage largely of outsourcing. But would you say the banks in Nigeria are outsourcing, or they are they are falling in the area of
Casualizing workers?
Casualizing workers. Because I go to the banking halls, and people I see now, they don't even carry the ID card of the bank. They carry a different ID card, and there's no like that brand presence of this is what we're doing. We're bankers. Like anybody can just be employed then.
That's a very, very good question, Tokwe. You see, I come from that industry. It's part of why I went into this business.
Right.
When I left banking, I saw that what banks were practicing were principally casualization, not outsourcing. Was why I went for the certification, and we set out to do it differently. Now, for almost all banks, they multi-source, so you'll find more than one provider. And the basic difference is, you see, casualization simply means the staff have no core benefits.
Yeah.
The terms of employment are short-term, 6 months renewable, 1 year renewable, no medicals, no pension, no tax, no paid leave, nothing. We don't do that at Resource Intermediaries Limited. So that is casualization. Outsourcing, even on the people's side, it's a labor-certified process. Every staff we manage has a valid letter of employment that is not time-bound. They have paid annual leave. They are covered through the HMO for medical. And if we need to exit them, we give notice or we pay in lieu. They also cannot just take off without paying us or giving notice. So the letter they carry is the same letter all of my staff employed have.
Right.
I have about 85 core staff. All of those staff have that same letter. So it's not because they are working and deployed to different organizations. So that's a distinction. But you're right. A lot of banks don't go into that process. It's easier for them to work with the organization that will cut corners with them and do all of those tricks. We don't do that at Resource Intermediaries Limited.
All right, Bisi.
So there's this new law passed by the National Assembly on casualization and contract staffing. What's your take on it?
That's another very good question, BC. You see, I'm in absolute 100% support of that law. Specifically, I think it's Section 7, subsection 1 of that act. What it says is it provides that every employee must have their employment regularized within 90 days. So casualization is even in that law, but not for more than 90 days.
Yes.
That within 90 days, that employment must be regularized. And I just told you, with my company, that we don't even have that 90-day window. Every staff we employ and deploy, from day one, the employment is regularized. So but casualization, it's allowed even in that act, but not for more than 90 days.
Right.
So we don't do that. We don't do that. So I'm in full support of the law.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a massive unemployment in Nigeria. How can your company help that
Address a problem.
situation?
Another good question, Yeni. You see, each time I look at unemployment, my first response is always for those candidates to look inwards. We're familiar first with the fact that a lot of our graduates are not even employable. Now, I'm a local breed. All my education is local, so don't get me wrong. There's no Harvard, it's all local. And I'm a third-class graduate, by the way. Right. So everything is local. Right? But you can Google me.
They rule the world, actually. Third class, they rule the world.
As it is. Right. So the reality is a lot of those students, it's not their fault. Society in Nigeria basically celebrates certificates more than the
Content.
actual learning that can be applied in school. That's the challenge. So what have we done? We started about 9 years ago a program called the RIL Finishing School. So we started a school because we employ and we see people with those certificates, and when you sit down with them at an interview, someone with first-class computer science, the first thing we say is, okay, type this document and into the system and print it. They can't even put the computer on. Because in school, probably they use one big computer to teach 500 people.
Right.
And the computer used was a box.
Ancient ones.
Right. So we started 9 years ago, what we call the RL Finishing School. So for 5 days, it's a paid program, 30,000. We teach 18 modules. So things that help you in the real world, not certificate. Right. 18 modules. Entrepreneurship, which is our emphasis. That even if you get these jobs, it's temporary. Don't get too sucked up, especially in an outsourced job, right? Go start your own. So we teach entrepreneurship, poise, public speaking, decision making, accounts for non-accountants, sales and marketing. 18 modules over 5 days. And in the 9 years, we've had 2,768 people pass through it in 85 streams. As it is, we got each model 85 streams. So that's one of our contribution. Next is every chance we get, like I have this with you lovely ladies today, we try to push that fact that please, certificates are overrated.
Yeah, true.
Whatever
It'll take a long
certificates you
time
have.
to accept.
Yes,
we
we
are
just
seeing the
talk to
reality.
those who get. So go and self-develop yourselves. What are the skills needed today? Go take a 2 weeks program, 3 months program to get that certification. Then you get the job. There are jobs out there.
Really?
There are jobs out there.
Yeah.
There are jobs out there.
Just have the right certification.
Have the right
But still
certification.
talking about contribution, let's help us understand the industry, its contribution into the economy. That's another aspect we'd like to know.
First, when I spoke about the benefits earlier, one of the major benefits outsourcing provides, again, I'm not just talking HR outsourcing. Outsourcing generally is, it actually improves the GDP of the country because of foreign investment. Currently for us, for example, in our little company in our 15 years, we manage about 3 different foreign accounts who pay us in dollars. And we've never seen them. All the engagement was online. We manage their local staff. So that's FX coming in as it is. And so that's one major advantage. So foreign exchange is earned because businesses are outsourced to Nigeria. Then the fact that you can be more efficient in running your business and transfer what is not core to you to an outsourced provider enhances the efficiency of businesses and focus.
All right. Now, quickly, because you mentioned 15 years, would like to understand how the lessons you have learned over the years building the company and ensuring that you sustained it up till this time. And then you mentioned something earlier that I would like for you to quickly touch on before perhaps we let you go. And that is the aspect of the fact that you said outsourcing is not regularized. And I'm wondering what the implications are. Those 2 questions, perhaps.
Okay, 2 in 1. Thank you again, Veronica. Interestingly, sometime next week, I have it out on my social media handle. I'll be sharing 15 secrets that we have learned in 15 years to 15 business owners. And they're just to register as a free 2-hour session with me. So I'll share 3 of them now.
Yeah, all right.
One key one is recognize that your people are your greatest assets.
That's your workers, you
Your
mean?
staff are your greatest assets. So any business that wants to grow and thrive, if you don't have that understanding, so your people, and it's not just by saying it, you have to live it. We have a creche in the office, so my staff that have babies after the 3 months maternity resume with the baby for another 1 year. And the baby's in the creche and work is going on. That's us living the fact of
And the
your
mother will be
staff.
very focused because her baby is not too
TBC
far.
has a crush as well, so
Absolutely.
the same
And the
thing.
male, the fathers whose wives work in places that they don't have that, bring the baby to the office as it is. We also have paternity leave.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's new.
We have, so you don't just say your people are your greatest assets, you live it.
Show
as
it.
is.
How
You
long is
show
the
it.
paternity leave?
For us, it's 2 weeks.
That's good enough.
That's good
Just
enough.
stay at home,
That's
take
good.
your baby with you.
Bond with your baby.
Second one.
Second one is advertisements don't bring the customer. All it does is it gets you known.
Awareness.
So what brings the customers?
Contact, engagement, one-on-one. I'm sure there's some adverts you've watched on TV. You know, I don't want to sell anyone here, but beautiful adverts. And we like the adverts, but you didn't buy the product.
In fact, you can watch the advert 50 times because it's such a nice advert.
But you didn't buy the product.
What about referrals? Referrals could work
So
too.
referrals work. That's what I mean. You must, customer comes by contact. And a good way to grow your contact is to recognize that the sole purpose of a business is to create a customer and keep the customer, not to make money. If your focus is money, that business won't last. Business
So quickly,
people,
the third one.
yes. I've mentioned the 3.
Oh, you've mentioned the 3.
The other 12, you have to register and join.
All right.
It's two I heard, though.
If I want to register, I mean, what you said,
We need to
I
go
run
on a
my
break.
business and I do all those 3 things.
Why, okay?
Sorry, class to go.
We need to go on a break. The director is on breathing down my neck now. We need to take this break. We'll take a break now and continue our conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, thank you for staying with us. We still have our guest, Olusoji Oyaweye, co-founder, MD, CEO, Resource Intermediaries Limited. And you were telling us 3 things that, out of 15 things that you have learned in the past 15 years. You told us 2. So we must get the 3rd one before we let you go.
Okay, the 3rd one is you must keep your costs low. And in keeping your costs low, consider outsourcing. So there's some functions you don't need to take on. You don't need to have an accountant in when you're starting a business. Even some sales and marketing can be outsourced. Keep your costs low. Also, use a co-work facility rather than rent an office and you're paying rent 2-3 million naira.
Use your home.
Use your home or a co-work. We also run co-work facilities. That's what I'm mentioning. The bunker facilities are owned by us in Lekki, Yaba, Abuja, and Ibadan. So for 250,000, you have an office, basically, rather than you're not paying rent, diesel, or security, any of that, all in that package. Or you pay 3,000 per day, 25,000 a month. So that brings your costs
Okay, they are packaging,
low.
yes.
And
Yeah.
many people don't know these things.
Your final word before we let you go. Final word.
First, I'm an incurable optimist generally, including about our country. So if people like me can survive and build a 15-year-old business with a subsidiary in Ghana and 4 other businesses coming out of that main business, the last 3 in a COVID year, all thriving, then it's possible. But try and get a business coach, someone who's been there to help you through. Sometimes they will charge you for that experience sharing, but it's an investment worth taking.
Okay, Olusoji Oyaweye, co-founder, MD, CEO, Resource Intermediaries Limited. Thank you for your time.
Thank
and
you, sir.
congratulations once again.
Thank you, Veronica and Bisi.
Thank you.
Yeni, nice meeting you. And Tope.
All right, we'll take a break. When we return, we'll continue our conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, thank you for staying with us. There was a massive tanker explosion along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway this morning. And a lot of persons have been talking about the fact that there's a little bit of traffic congestion. If you can watch the pictures on the screen now, there is the fire service attempting to put out the fire there, and some persons taking pictures. That's the tanker also burning there as a result of the explosion. We have the person, Public Education Officer, FRSC, Mr. BC Kazim, to bring us updates on this recent developments. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Now, quickly bring us up to speed with what is happening there as we speak. Have the fire been put out?
As of now, we have 4 fire stations back to end the impact. We have one from Lagos, one from Africa, and 2 federal fire service stations. So what they're doing as of now is that they've been able to execute some part of the raging fire. That has made us realize that as of now, about 13 vehicles are involved. We have 2 tankers, 5 trucks, and 2 cars already bought. We are yet to ascertain casualties, but we learned that one of the drivers was rescued alive and taken to an hospital. And we mandated the sector commander to visit the injured person and ascertain exactly what.
Hello, sir. From the looks of it, multiple articulated vehicles were involved in this. Can you hear me? Okay, yes. From the look of it, multiple articulated vehicles were involved. Where exactly was the location of this accident? And have we been able to ascertain the number of casualties? Were there any? There were no casualties.
Around the Mona Trailer Park. That is between Lagos and the Bandits Expressway. Okay. And like I told you earlier, we have not been able to ascertain that. It's only when the fire is finally extinguished that we can talk about casualties. For now, like I told you, no casualties is reported, except that we learned that one person was rescued alive and taken to an hospital. And we have sent people there to make sure that they see the injured person.
All right. What is the traffic advisory for persons who apply that route at this time?
Yes, we are already diverting traffic to make sure that all inbound and traffic moves to the Lagos, inbound Lagos, because the crash occurs on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. So not Ibadan Lagos. So, but we equally want to say that if you do not have any system on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway this morning, please do not endeavor to fly the route. And if you have alternative routes, I can link you to probably Ikorodu, to Jebode, or Abeokuta, to link Ibadan, other areas. Please endeavor to take such routes. It's still chaotic at that time.
All right. What is the estimated time frame to clear that road so that people can move freely?
It's not something that is sacrosanct. It's not something that you can predict. You know, by now we have backlog already. You know, moving towards Lagos and others moving towards Bandits. So we'll keep on updating you. But the most important thing is for us to execute the fire and make sure that. But as of now, another thing I need to tell you is that our tow truck is waiting already on standby. So as soon as they are about pulling out, those vehicles are already extinguished. So the more we are able to do it, the earlier we'll be able to free the traffic. But very soon we'll update you again.
Right. It looks as if it was caused by a petrol tanker, but do you know what exactly caused the accident?
It was an explosion. I think one vehicle was in the front, another one had collision with it from preliminary investigation, because we don't like giving the report of a traffic crash, except when fully investigated. But from preliminary investigation, we learned that one truck was in the front, maybe stopped abruptly, and another tanker at the back hit it from the back, and then there was that explosion. And there were multiple, tankers were about fixed already. So if a tanker should hit another tanker is hitting that one, you can imagine what will happen. And because we have been advocating that most of these vehicles should have valve, sealant, and up to now, some of them are not having. It's not as if tankers should not fall. It's not as if tankers should not hit each other. But when you have sealant, the point will not fail and there will not be explosion. And the commander has directed that we should enforce this sealant with collaboration of the local PTD, Petroleum Tanker Drivers, National Association of Road Transport Owners, NFCC, and so on. We must make sure that all tankers in Nigeria have sealant that is known as valve, so that the moment there's any crash, you won't see any spillage and there won't be explosion.
All right, we must thank you, Mr. BC Kazim, Core Public Education Officer for the FRC, for the update. We'll definitely stay with you for more as we get along. Thank you for your time.
I really can't wait for us to move on from this thing. Like we have this happens so many times. The same conversation, there's a sealant, there's a valve that should be put on all these trailers. And then so far, after several loss of lives, we still haven't been able to implement it around the country and penalize the right person for not having the sealant. Look, preventing these things from happening.
Look, until they, I will keep on saying it, until they start to arrest the owners, not the drivers or the good for the owners.
Are saying, and the question is it so difficult to find who the owners are?
No, there's no law. We've had this discussion before on the show, and somebody told us that there is no law penalizing if a trailer falls off. The law does not penalize the owner; it penalizes the driver. So the drivers would run and abscond. The trailer owner will come and carry their trailer. So they're not meant to pay.
But they're not responsible. It cannot continue like
this. But isn't this what our representatives should be passing to the National Assembly? So you know there are no laws penalizing this, and it's been happening over and over. You put it as a bill. Let us talk about. Let us debate it. Let's pass it into law so that we can have proper follow through. I don't understand.
I was coming to work today. This FRSC, they stopped me. Obviously, I can't have that car and not have papers. Obviously, it has number plates. I should not be stupid enough not to have driver's license. I couldn't know them. They stopped me. But they will see a trailer that doesn't have anything. They will not stop them. They will now be facing...
Some will be leaking on the road.
Yes. They will stop those ones. It is people who have normal looking cars. Just in case they don't have one paper, so you can arrest them and collect their money.
And it's a vicious circle. Thankfully, we've not confirmed, but it looks like we might not have casualties from this particular incident. But the roads,
that were just constructed.
Constructed roads on their way to going bad because of this kind of. So the impact is a whole lot, and it is very preventable.
Those who lost their cars.
Yes,
Now, just to give us an update on what the public education officer said, he said that they are still trying to put out the fire and that people should use alternative routes, especially if you are going towards that axis. He said 13 vehicles were involved. Casualties have not been ascertained because they are still trying to put out the fire. And he said one of the drivers that was rescued alive is in the hospital as we speak. It was a multiple tanker explosion, people. So you would want to avoid that route this morning. And this is coming on the heels of another explosion that happened
by Sheraton.
Took down many offices.
The offices, the businesses, that's for market. I know that I go there. So they have destroyed people's means of livelihood.
I know someone who has 2 offices, massive office space within that plaza. The entire thing burnt down. So even if, and the fact thing, they did not do, even when they did insurance, they did not think that this kind of thing would happen.
Can't the government compensate?
Cover those kind of things. Government, I'm still waiting for government compensation from it.
Now, for issue, when you look at counting the cost of the things involved, the level of damage, we should have laws by now.
Considering it is preventable.
Yeah, but
that's
even,
the thing.
you know, we can't really prevent all accidents. Accidents will happen once there are human interactions. But if we had put some things in place so that when these accidents happen, we have something to fall back on. You can't
this one, you can prevent this one. You know why? Because they are not making the owners pay.
Responsible.
They're not making them responsible.
They're not holding them to account,
You just put your bad truck on the road, leave it, Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians, to
untrained drivers as well.
Anyway,
untrained drivers.
It's a really sad development, but we need to take a quick break now. When we return, it will be time for our hot topic. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Now, I want to talk about Sheik Gumi's statement yesterday, and I'd like to read it out so that it won't be my words. He said that schools will not be safe until federal government negotiates with bandits. And he said that he has urged, Sheik Abubakar Gumi has urged the federal government to negotiate with the bandits in order to stop kidnappings in the country. Gumi, who also reacting to the abduction of some school children in Niger State, said the needless kidnappings will continue until there is genuine negotiation with bandits. Now, according to him, the bandits are only looking for money, hence they resorted to abduction of students. Now, we know who Sheik Gumi is. This is not the first time he's reacting to issues of banditry, abduction, and his stance has always been negotiating, the government negotiating with people. He was making this statement after about 100 bandits. He had an exclusive interview and said that there are about 100,000 armed bandits in the northwest alone. Now he's giving figures. He has all the details. Now we have yet to hear from government with reactions to all of this statement coming from Gumi, even though we remember that someone once asked Lai Mohammed that, see the statements Gumi is making, and he said that what Gumi is saying is not about cessation and all of that as championed by other sections of the society that the government is reacting to. But now again, we realize that students are involved, people's children, teachers, you know, are the ones being kidnapped here. And we have heard about those who were killed in the process. Now, this is just to lay a background, but yet he's saying government should negotiate with these people. Let's get your view, YK.
You see, for me, I don't know how someone who goes to visit bandits, who interacts with bandits on a regular, schools have closed. A lot of schools have closed in the north because the children are not safe. And you are still saying, oh, negotiate with bandits. I can help you negotiate. He's still walking around. I don't even say arrest him. Just question him. Call him. Please, where are these bandits so that we can
catch them?
Because when you're saying, oh, they're not talking cessation, what is happening in the northeast is not funny. It's not, and can lead to secession. At least, I'm not even saying whether I support secession, but at least those ones are coming and saying, okay, this is what we want. These ones, we don't even know what you want, so I just negotiate that what.
He says they want money. That's
money
what he's saying.
But
I can't answer that.
When you don't have, you don't have any tangible business that you are doing, and you are relying on spoils of
government,
of war, of kidnapping. When that money is not coming, that means you are living large.
Yeah. Right?
When you don't have that money, how are you going to live?
So, honestly, I first hearing this statement, my first opinion is to toe YK's line of, oh, let's arrest him, let's investigate him, bug him, monitor him, put some tracker on his body. When he goes to visit them, you can, you know, use GPS and find where he is. But that's me talking about from
a personal point of view.
Of Hollywood movies and what you see, how they do their stunts. But if you watch those Hollywood movies too, you see that when bandits or criminals want to carry an informant in, they don't just carry the person by hand. They have an open location, they carry the person, cover him up, drive him around and confuse him. I'm talking about, like, and then get him to where he's going to. So my thoughts here is that, according to Sheik Gumi, these bandits were legitimate farmers' herders before, whose businesses had been destroyed based on crisis, and then they saw how criminality paid, and they resorted to doing this. So Sheik Gumi's statement is that the people I'm talking to are not criminals. I know that they were legitimate business owners before, who insecurity and crisis has led them into being
crime paid.
Crime paid, and they now their businesses could not be sustained. Right. So they resorted into crime. And what they want is just what every other Nigerian wants. And he's likening the banditry and the challenges that what bandits are doing to what happened with militants.
No, and they are different. You should not liken it, please.
And so we should negotiate with them, find out what they want, give them what they want. To a large extent, his statement has not been inciting, it's not been negative, it's not been divisive. But this last one, that there will be no peace in schools, is almost to the point of there's a threat coming to government, that government, you're not serious. If you don't do this thing, you will not have any, no school will be able to open, or the entire place will burn down. Or this,
but we've seen that happen.
It's like a threat to...
In some states, in the northeast, a lot of the schools are closed.
Yes. So I think it's as a result of entitlement, because all over the country, I'm talking about all the states in the country, we have people who have lost their businesses for whatever reason, have lost their homes for whatever reason, but they do not resort to criminality and banditry. They do not resort to stealing. They still find a way to, you know, put themselves together, look for things to do, those that need to go and understudy somebody, those that need to go and look for whatever it is, any means of livelihood that is legitimate. So why do we keep making excuses for some persons because they lost their farms and they lost... I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So it's the mindset of entitlement that this belongs to us. And so now that we have... for me, I don't even believe those people were farmers. Because we still have farmers who are crying to the federal government, who are crying to the CBN. We can't pay loans back. We don't have this. Help us. There are still farmers we know. So this excuse of we were farmers and then we lost everything to the banditry. How did the banditry start happening? How did Boko Haram start happening? It's still from amongst them there that they had it. The other parts of the country did not bring Boko Haram. It's from that side. So if you are upset with the government that this Boko Haram displaced you and you now resort to criminality, it's because you have always been a criminal. So my point is, I wouldn't say arrest. The initial thought is that pick him up so that he can explain to us how he's even getting this conversation going with
these people.
Yes, but I want to appeal to him to imagine that those children that have been abducted are his or from his family. Would he sit down confidently and say the government should abandon everything they have to do and start negotiating? Why are we paying them? Why are they asking for money? Go and work for your money. If you need help from the government, put yourself together in an association and ask for help. A few years ago, we had this, we talked about this farmer stuff. You took it in the newspaper where the government was giving farmers money. They were giving market women money. Why don't you find something and go to the government and say, this is what we want to do, support us? What criminality, Veronica, is criminality.
Right.
And those persons should be arrested and prosecuted. Now, we are beginning to suspect that you are either aiding them because you're having these conversations and coming out with figures, giving us numbers. We need to ask you questions. Are you ready to answer these questions?
For me, there are two sides to this issue. What has negotiation done so far? We have seen people engage these persons, negotiated with them, give them money, and all of that.
And then they stopped.
And then we are still seeing them carrying out this thing.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, I'm asking, what are state governments doing now with this information? Because I also feel this is an intelligence for you to know what to do to secure schools. If that is what you intend to do at the end of the day, especially if you're not looking at shutting down schools, because people want their children in school. So what can the government do now with this information if we say, okay, don't arrest him, but he is telling you beforehand that there will be no peace except you negotiate?
Oh, wow.
So, you see, Boko Haram means it's against Western education.
Yeah.
Now, how do you want to convince someone like me that this is still not Boko Haram? Because it's schools. It is schools.
True.
All right.
Primary school, secondary schools, universities, technical schools. They're now even attacking Islamic schools. So what they are just saying is, we are just shut down schools.
It's a business.
Well, that is what it's looking like. But we have to wrap up the conversation now and just take this break. We'll come back and the conversation will continue. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thank you for staying with us. YK, you have some
I have
reactions.
some tips.
Yeah.
Yes, Bilikis Moronike Mafe says, as in the matter, no, they finish from banditry to tanker explosion, Fulani cattle, rustlers, kidnapping, onion day expensive, food no they reach. The matter don't whoa. Then the Andrew is shut down. This Sheik Gumi, who really is he? And Bilikis again says, the Sheik Gumi is always in the middle of controversy. Ilu wogan wanja fun self. Say what country? Which country are they fighting for? Gumi should ask. This is good bits. Gumi should ask the criminals to come and build roads and get paid by the government. He should advise them to stop kidnapping. Andrew Estreta, I have a feeling he's a little sympathetic to the bandits. I don't trust him. Most people, there are a lot of tubes on him, and most of them are saying, look, this guy is not trustworthy. He should be questioned.
Can I just quickly add something? You know, one of the reasons people say we haven't been able to fight insurgency, banditry, killer headsmen, Boko Haram, is because they are sympathizers to their cause within the government.
Yeah.
And as long as we have people that understand from their perspective, we cannot effectively fight them.
So how do we fish them out?
Is a respected imam. Is someone that people admire, people believe in.
Yeah.
Is a cleric that is respected. And when it first came out, everybody was happy that, oh, we have somebody finally, like an intermediary, someone that is speaking to them. But now, the worry is that this language seems so sympathetic towards them that he's not really speaking for us. It seems more like he's speaking for them.
Perhaps we'll see a reaction from government soon.
Perhaps, but then
let's wait and see. Fingers crossed. Okay, today is Health Tuesday, and about 50 to 60% of people have died as a result of cardiopulmonary arrest. Most of these people will be alive if the public are aware of a couple of things to do during collapses. Now, joining us on the show is Dr. Femi Oguremi. He is in the studio, in our Abuja studio. He will be joining us to talk about basic life support, or cardiopulmonary resuscitation, as it is called. Thank you, Dr. Oguremi, for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you.
Now, recently, just to lay a background for a lot of persons to understand what we are talking about, there was a video that trended of a man that was dancing and suddenly he fell to the ground. And a lot of persons thought that it was part of his performance. And so they left him on the ground, and later on the report said they picked him up, and then later on we heard that he died. And then most recently was Christian Eriksen, who was playing at the Euro 2022, who also collapsed on the field, and we saw what happened there. And the question is, why this incessant collapses? First, before we get to understand how to, resuscitate persons. What are the things that lead to this collapse, first of all?
Yeah, so collapses happen. Quite a lot of things will cause, an individual to collapse. Usually, for you to be alert, like I'm talking to you now, and you're talking to me, it means that your brain is functioning, is getting enough oxygen, is getting all the nutrients it needs. So if for any reason there's a sudden, an abrupt stoppage in the function of the organs that actually, supply oxygen and nutrients to the brain, then in that case, there will be a collapse. And those organs are the heart and the lungs, So we're taking air, the air gets circulated through the body, the heart pumps, blood around the system, carrying oxygen and nutrients. And as long as this system functions, then we're okay. So there are diseases that can actually lead to a kind of stoppage of these two organs. It could be things like maybe heart attack, it could be cardiovascular problem or other problems. And usually the last thing that happens in life when somebody is going to die is for cardiopulmonary arrests, which then leads to this collapse.
Okay, sir. So I'm usually confused between a cardiac arrest and fainting, because sometimes people just fall down and then you use water and they get up. So how do you know exactly? How do you know that this is a cardiac arrest and this is fainting? How do you differentiate?
Okay, so somebody can faint when there's a momentary, shortage of blood supply to the brain. Or maybe there's a problem in the heart when the heart fails, because there are a lot of tension, like an electric tension that goes around the heart. So if there is a kind of an abbreviation in the functionality of this, organ, then an individual can have a momentary period where you feel like you're passing out and then you come round. Or you can pass out shortly and you come round. So firstly, let me pass the message here. If somebody is experiencing, fainting attacks, they need to be seen. They need to see somebody, because there are investigations that need to be done to make sure they're not warning signs to something that is sinister. So if somebody faints and they do not, take cognizance of it and they carry on, then what can happen is, in the end, they might then collapse completely, whereby there's a long period when this function doesn't, happen again. So if you have a long length of cessation of the function of the heart, then the person will pass out. Right. And if it's long enough, it can lead to things like brain death and things like that.
I wanted to ask my own question. My own question is, are there any signs to this cardiac arrest or cardio,
pulmonary resuscitation?
Are there any signs that your body should be telling you? And then Obiajunu's question was, what's the difference between fainting? How do we know someone fainted or had the cardio? How do you know the difference?
So a faint is a momentary thing. It's not something that is long-lasting. So you can just feel fainting because there's a shortage, like I said, shortage of blood to the brain. So if somebody can feel fainting, and that can happen if there's a kind of abrupt stoppage of the heart that is supposed to pump blood, continuously to supply oxygen to the brain. So somebody can feel momentarily like they're going to pass out, but they don't pass out. So you can faint that way and then you come round, okay? And then if somebody faints, both of them they link up, because somebody that's going to collapse, they will faint, and then that fainting, it lasts long, and they're not coming around because the stoppage is not momentary. It's something that has happened, the heart is stopped pumping, and it stopped pumping. It's not coming back. So somebody will say it's a faint if it jumpstarts itself, and then you come round. But if it doesn't jumpstart itself, you will not come round. So you will then go into an arrest, completely.
So even when we sprinkle water, the person doesn't come around, you know it's... No, we need to know.
Is it right to sprinkle water, sir? Because Nigerians, when somebody falls down, they will just pour water on the person's face.
Right.
It's a very pathetic situation that that happens in Nigeria, where somebody either faints or collapse, and the next thing that we start doing is we pouring water on their faces, or we put in something to stimulate them. Because when you faint or when you collapse, then we need to make a proactive action to make sure that the heart that is actually stopped functioning needs to come back quickly. And that's where the cardiopulmonary resuscitation thing comes in, the basic life supports that we do.
And that is where my
then the other thing that we need
question. All right. Quickly, you can round up on your statement, then we'll ask the next question.
Yeah, so the thing that we need to be mindful of is when somebody collapses and we do not do the right thing on time, if the length is long enough, I mean, your brain will survive 4 to 5 minutes. And after that, somebody will go into brain death. And a lot of this thing will happen at home. It will happen where there are no doctors. So that's why it's important for us all to be skilled in knowing what we need to do when it happens, to be able to do the right thing and keep these people alive.
Now, speaking about the right thing, what to do, where do we begin? And talk to us about that, about how to go about it.
Okay, so a system has to be put in place very quickly, whereby you go through the process of basic life support. The basic life support is a skill that everybody needs to know. Everybody basically needs to know. And I always tell people, when I tell you about basic life support, I'm telling you to know not because of you, just because of me. So if I know how to do basic life support, I can only help the second person. The person to help me is the person that is next to me if it happens to me. And we're all human. Anything can happen at any time. So the important thing to do is for us to know, to see the environment wherever this happens, because somebody can faint or pass out because of something that is very dangerous. Maybe there's an electric shock, and then it's hit the heart, and then the person is passed out. And then you see the person pass out, you need to be sure that the environment is safe for you to go and help the person. You understand? So the first thing to know is the environment safe around this person that is collapsed? So if the environment is safe, then you approach them. When you approach them, you need to check whether they're sleeping, because somebody might be sleeping and you think they're collapsed. So you need to talk to them. Hello, ask them, are they okay? Okay? So you need to call them and ask whether they're okay. So if they answer you, that means maybe they're sleeping. But if they do not answer you, then you need to shake them and tap them. Just call them. Would they come round by tapping them? So if they do not come round by tapping them, then you need to check whether they are breathing, because now they are unresponsive when they're not listening to you. They're not hearing you by voice. They're not feeling you by touching them. So they're unconscious already. Now you need to check whether they're breathing. So when you need to do a procedure that will say you tilt their head, lift their chin, and then you need to listen and feel for breathing. I can demonstrate that in a minute. Look, listen and feel for breathing. And then if they're not breathing for 10 seconds, then you can establish that this person is in cardiopulmonary arrest, which was exactly what happened on the pitch on that day during the incident that happened during the match. So once you realize that they're not breathing, and they're unresponsive, then at that stage, you can then confirm that this person is in a cardiopulmonary arrest. So what you then need to do is to jumpstart the heart and the lungs. So you then go into the cardiopulmonary resuscitation, whereby you need to go, of course, you need to call for help wherever we are with the timing, because in Nigeria, I know we have situations where we don't have effective ambulance system. So the ideal thing would probably be to call for help and ask somebody to call for ambulance to bring AED, which is the defibrillator, the external defibrillator that would encourage everybody to have, not everybody, but at least if we can have a system where multiple people have this around us, it goes a long way. Now, so once we've done that, you need to start the cardiopulmonary resuscitation, 30 compression, to 2 rescue breaths. And then we carry on doing that until the AED arrives, or help arrives, or this person comes around. There's quite a lot, not a lot, but a few things that we need to know about this.
Okay, doctor, please, you didn't tell me about the signs. You know me, I'm 60. I just need to know the signs.
Is palpitation part of the signs?
When your heart is palpitating, when you have a palpitation and the heart is pounding, palpitation means your heart is pounding. That is not a sign of collapse. It might be a warning sign, but it's not a sign of collapse. You understand? So, I mean, it's not a sign of cardiopulmonary arrest. When the heart stops pumping completely is when you talk about the cardiopulmonary arrest. An arrest means something has stopped working. There's an arrest, it's not working. So if you're having palpitation, your heart is working. It could be working very fast. There might be a reason for that, you know, and then which needs to be checked. If your heart is pounding a lot of the time, there will be a need for us to actually check this out to find out why that is the situation.
I would like to know, is there anything we can do to prevent it from happening altogether? Prevent this cardiac
arrest? Yeah, so I mean, it boils down to what we normally talk about, that we need to know ourselves, we need to listen to our bodies. If things are happening in your body, you need to listen to it. Like, if you're having palpitation, you don't have palpitation normally. That's not normal. So you need to find out why is that the situation. It could be a warning sign. If you're feeling fainty, it could be a warning sign. And one common thing is people don't check their blood pressure. We need to be checking our blood pressure, because not checking your blood pressure is a silent way of going down this roof. You understand? Because a lot of people are going about with a very, very high blood pressure, and it's just a ticking bomb that will just cause a problem at some point. So if we identify it quickly, we can prevent that leading to, you know, sinister situation where you then have a cardiopulmonary arrest. There are other things, maybe chronic illnesses that, you know, obviously will make this an issue. But I don't want to panic people at the same time. You know, but of importance is we just need to check ourselves. Do your check, like I always advocate to people. On your birthday, there's only one gift it's good for you to give yourself. Check. Go for your blood test, urine test, your heart tracing, or things like that during your blood pressure, during your birthday. It's usually a good thing to do.
Thank you, sir. So the case of Erickson that happened a few weeks back, you know, as a sports person, is very fit. They do regular checkups. Are there other things that other signs that might not be visible to people, or can it just be random? Because his case was very, very strange.
Yeah. So what happens is, cardiopulmonary arrest can happen at any time. It could happen even when you seemingly appear to be a fit person, and one way or the other, something just goes wrong in the heart. Or even the fact that you're fit doesn't mean that you're not having issues that you have not been paying attention to, because your body will always give you that warning sign. In his own case, unless one asks questions, you don't know. Maybe he's been having some momentary period of, you know, fainting that he didn't take notice of. You understand? And then even when you are fit, there are some conditions that are associated, you know, with that could actually lead to, you know, the heart just stopping suddenly. And when we have young age group like his, you know, collapsing like that, very, very fortunate where that happens, because if we were to be somewhere like in Nigeria, we know what the story will probably be. So if we have people, young age group, that have sudden death syndrome, they call it, there is need for us to check all the siblings and people who are, you know, close family, to make sure. But unfortunately in Nigeria, we don't do postmortems. So we don't check people when they die suddenly, and we do not know what caused their death, you know, to be able to see whether there's anything that we need to check the siblings for, or, you know, and then so the siblings can then develop something similar, which is not going to give anybody, you know, any warning sign. So our system, again, I will always come down to that. The system that will run, health system will run in our country is a bit skewed.
So how regularly, a final question, should we check our blood pressure?
Sorry?
How regularly should we check our blood pressure? Our final question to you.
Okay, so it'd be good to check our blood pressure at least. If you don't have a problem with your blood pressure is not high, I think, okay, once or twice a year is good to check it.
All right.
If you have issues with the blood pressure, maybe a bit more frequently.
Dr. Femi Ogunremi, thank you so much for your time on the program this morning.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. YK.
Do we have time for tubes?
No, I'm not sure. Except the director says we have to. Oh, we have to go now. He says we have to go now. Oh. So YK, once or twice a year. That's what he's saying.
We should do our blood pressure.
Blood pressure once or twice a year.
If you are not at risk.
If you are not
if
at
you're
risk.
mature and you're at risk,
You can't do it
more regularly.
Like my cousin, he carries his own machine around with him.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, at least we've learned a whole lot today. That's the much we can take on the show today. We'll see you again tomorrow. Do have a great day. Bye.